Chapter 2 Oliver. Sorry, man, you just missed him. The barista returns from backstage. Maybe try at their next gig. He grabs a card from behind the counter. I don't know when that is, but this has all their social media info. They post their performances on there. I nod, taking the card he offers to be polite. I don't need it. I already follow them everywhere I can. I head out to my SUV, feeling disappointed. I didn't want a card of information I already have. I wanted a chance to talk to Kaylee. I figured talking to her at a gig would give me the best chance of showing her that we have things in common. I don't want to wait for their next gig. They're taking a break due to marching season. That's part of why I wanted to talk to her tonight. I made myself get up the nerve because it could be my last chance for a while. Not that it matters now. It clearly took me too long to gather my courage. I drive home wishing I had the confidence that radiates off Kaylee on stage. Maybe then she'd notice me like I can't stop noticing her. At the 4th of July celebration festival this past summer, my friends had paired off, so I wandered around by myself. I was near one of the smaller stages when a new band came on stage. The lead singer had shoulder-length purple hair and wore a hot pink crop top, black leather skirt, and black combat boots. She announced their band as Outnumbered by Hysteria. Then they started playing a cover of Our Last Night's Losing Sleep. I grew up listening to Our Last Night, and they're one of my favorite bands. I walked to the front of the crowd and sang along. That close, I could see she had blue eyes and wore bright red lipstick. She looked and sang like a rock goddess and made me want to believe in love at first sight. I stood at the front watching the entire set. They played a few more covers and some original music. Afterwards, I tried to find her, but I couldn't. The next day, I found their band on Instagram. The lead singer was Kaylee Cobb, and she went to our school. Two-a-days, our summer conditioning for fall sports, started a few weeks later. We had to be at the school super early every morning to run and lift weights and then practice plays in the evening. I was going to try to talk to her since she was up at the school for marching band. I came up behind her while she talked with another girl in band. The girl said something about boys in football pants. Kaylee shrugged and said, "Guys who can play music are better. No one can serenade you with a football." I retreated and came up with a plan to woo her. So far, I've not succeeded in trying to talk to her, much less woo her. I've tried multiple times, but she doesn't notice me, and I'm not as outgoing as the rest of my friends. We have 3 classes together, and in trying to talk to her, I've inadvertently memorized the rest of her schedule. I might be towing the line when it comes to stalking. I've listened to all of Outnumbered by Hysteria songs enough to know all the words. I'm planning on asking her to homecoming, but I'm running out of time. When I get home, my house is quiet. My parents went out to a work dinner, and Grayson, my brother, must still be at Lynn's house. Lynn lives across the street from us. Her mom was our nanny, and we practically grew up at her house with Lynn's next-door neighbor, Daniel. I consider heading over there and hanging out with everyone, but I rule it out. I'm in no mood to talk about tonight, and somebody's bound to ask me where I've been. I haven't told anyone about Kaylee yet, and tonight is not the night for that conversation. Besides, I'm exhausted, so I just head to bed. Dude, did you manage to fall asleep eating? Tristan's voice pulls me out of my daze. Tristan has been my best friend since he moved here in 6th grade. I shake my head and take another bite of food. I didn't fall asleep, but I am pretty tired. I spent half the night anxious about trying to talk to Kaylee this week. If I'm going to ask her to homecoming, I need to get on it since the dance is this coming Saturday. Yeah, what's up with you? You were asleep before I got home, Grayson says from across the table. We're eating dinner at Lynn's house before going to our small group for church. I shrug. I don't feel like trying to explain without telling them about Kaylee. Leave Ollie alone. You know he needs his sleep, Lynn elbows my brother. You could say he needs a good night's rest, Daniel says from her other side. My friend group is referred to as the Knights. It started with our little dribblers team being the Silver Knights. Grayson and my last name, Ryder, is Irish for night, and Daniel's last name, Caballero, is Spanish for night. We always used to jokingly call ourselves the Knights, especially since Lynn's family's last name is Kingston. It caught on and became something we got called around school. It spread until that was just how we were known. Jet Vaughn, who is on our little dribblers team, is also one of the Knights. Tristan rounded out our friend group. We joked that he was always meant to move here and become friends with us because his last name is Knight. Lynn rolls her eyes at her best friend. You just think you're so clever, don't you? Well, since you mentioned it, yes, I do. They continue to joke around, and the topic of my sleepiness is long forgotten. Theo, Lynn's dad, pops his head into the guest house. Time to clean up. People should start arriving soon. We quickly do what he says before dragging the chairs from the kitchen into the living room so we have enough seating for everyone. For this quarter, Lynn's parents are hosting our small group, and that's easier to do out here because all of Lynn's siblings are running around in the main house. We've got everything set up when Mark Slater arrives. He's our football captain, but more importantly for tonight, he's Lynn's boyfriend. He's been coming to church in small group with her the last couple of weeks that they've been dating. He quickly glances around the room before zeroing in on where Lynn is joking around with Daniel. Slater walks over to her and pulls her in for a kiss that's a little too long and a little too involved for my comfort, especially since Lynn's family could walk in at any moment. Lynn pulls away first, blushing and looking embarrassed now that most of the attention in the room has gone to their display. She plasters a smile on her face and starts a conversation with Daniel and Mark about the football team. Mark slings his arm around Lynn in an overly possessive manner, and I see her shrink in on herself at the action. Lynn isn't big on PDA, especially with her family near. I want to walk over there and say something, but I know Lynn would get mad at me. She's told us many times to stay out of her relationships and that she can take care of herself. I know she can handle it. It just bothers me to see a guy clearly making a girl uncomfortable. The other night seemed to be on edge as well, and I can feel the tension in the room that doesn't quite dissipate with Lynn's attempts to lighten the mood. Soon the rest of our small group arrives, and the atmosphere is lighter. Theo teaches a short lesson about gossip, followed by a discussion. Most people weigh in, and the conversation flows until the hour is up. Theo closes us out in prayer. Who's up for a game of knockout? Jet asks, already having a basketball in his hand. I have no idea where he's been hiding that this whole time, but he lives and breathes basketball, so it's not surprising. Most of the guys agree and head to the basketball goal outside. Daniel and I hang back to put the chairs back where they go. Lynn talks to Mark briefly before helping us. Mark just hovers, waiting for us to be finished. See y'all tomorrow, Lynn says as we walk outside. You're not staying to play? Daniel asks, nodding to the court. Mark pulls Lynn into him, and he cuts off whatever Lynn was about to say. We've got plans. Yeah, Lynn tucks some of her hair behind her ear. So, see you later. Lynn and Mark walk off towards his car. It's weird that Lynn isn't playing basketball when that's her favorite pastime, but it's even weirder that she's leaving her house when there's other people here. I look to Daniel since he knows Lynn's best. Should we do something? Lynn's a big girl. She'll be fine for tonight. I'll find out tomorrow what's going on. I don't know what else to say, but I have a bad feeling about whatever's going on with Mark. Don't worry about it, Daniel says when I glance back in the direction they went. Let's go play ball. Lynn doesn't need our help. I'll check in on her when she's back and make sure everything is okay, but there's nothing for us to do right now. I nod and follow him to the court.